So in my sophomore year of high school, I was invited to be part of an advanced art program that shall remain nameless because I don't feel like doxing myself today. Now, this program was pretty exclusive. There were only 7 students in the program per school, and to my surprise, I was asked to be one of them. I had only been at the school for about half a year, so the fact that someone had brought my name up and recommended me was a big surprise, but somehow I was asked to join. Now, I just want to point out that this program was a complete mystery to me before I got in. All I knew was that some of the best artists in my school disappeared once a month. For all I knew, they were pumping art steroids or something, getting their creativity muscles swole beyond belief. Or maybe they were just trading fractions of their souls to an art demon. Kinda looked like a cult, but where's the fun in life if you don't join at least one? I was still nervous about the whole thing though. My self-confidence was about as substantial as the air in a bag of chips, so I wasn't super comfortable being around these people that were constantly being amazing and cool and stuff. And they weren't even just highly skilled, they were supportive and good people. Disgusting. I'm kidding, obviously. They were all great, but I didn't know any of that going in. Dare I join this really cool program? It would be a big time commitment, monthly field trips to art workshops, a retreat, and at the end of it all, preparing a piece for an exhibition in an actual real museum. My art. On the wall. Staring me down. What? What? It was a tall order, but I decided I might as well make my parents proud for once. Be more than just their gremlin son that makes internet videos. So I decided, I'm gonna do it. Woo! Yeah, okay, just get this signed by Thursday. Yes, ma'am. The first field trip we went on was to the previous year's exhibition. Gotta see what we have to live up to, right? Let's see what they... Whoa. Yeah, the difference between what I was looking at and what I could make was larger than the line at a Taco Bell restroom. AKA, look, I know that's a long distance, but if we don't close that gap soon, I'm going to explode and it's not gonna be pretty. Yeah. So soon enough, we were whisked away to the first art workshop. We were gonna paint still life of a bell pepper and garlic, which is actually pretty tame as far as artist exercises go. We were even doing it with oil paints, which I still refuse to use on a regular basis because they terrify me. Quick side tangent, oil paints are actually scary. Their fumes can make you sick, contact with the skin can poison you, some contain lead, which is why we were all painting in a poorly ventilated space with no gloves or proper training. Miss Frizzle, my oil paint burned through the palette and is now writhing on the floor trying to summon Satan? Oh, just go wash your hands, you'll be fine. Anyway, there I was, palette knife in hand, going at it, trying to capture the bellness of the pepper. And I was having a fair bit of fun. Until I looked to my left and right and, oh, those are so good, how? How? Note to self, comparing yourself to others isn't healthy. You want to know how I know that? Because I looked back at my painting and I suddenly hated it. And I went, man, this is turning out awful. And the person next to me went, I think it looks great. And I thought, you know, I really like their painting and value their opinion. So I'm gonna disregard everything they just said and still think this is garbage. That is the logical thing to do. Maybe those paint fumes were worse than I thought, but probably not considering that I acted like this for most of the workshops that I went to. I was improving and learning, but my brain said no. We are going to sit here and feel bad about ourselves until we are tearfully cranking out Mona Lisas. But time passed, we went on more field trips, we hiked into the woods and circled around a bonfire, each person holding a large rock. In the middle of the night. That's for another time. Basically, it was getting to the end of the school year, I had done all the workshops, and it was time to make our exhibits. Our masterpieces. And I had no ideas. Nothing. My brain was as blank as an outdoor chalk art museum on a rainy day. It was a real mess. But I needed something, so I just picked a random thing and went with it. And I ended up painting pictures of my sister's leftovers, which just sounds like the most pretentious thing ever. But that was all I had, so I ran with it hard. I started painting and hating every second of it. Fun fact, you're not supposed to hate every second of something you enjoy doing. And every time I was working on it, I would look at what I had and not like it, and then look at everyone else's. Yeah, I'm very happy for them and very worried for me. This kept building up inside me for a good month before my teacher told me, your paper is curling up and it's just not going to be displayable. You're going to have to restart. was pretty crushed. I had no idea what to do next. I had been trying so hard for so long to be something I just wasn't. So I talked to my mom about it because she's the best and I'm very fortunate to have a supportive family. She told me that cartoons are art too, and that made me realize that I didn't have to fit into that arbitrary box that I had made for myself. And that was the inspiration that I needed to make my piece. But I still hadn't gotten to the point of putting a YouTube video in a museum. Until, that is, my dad snitched on me having a channel to a teacher who told my teacher, who told me that I should put one in. Now, she meant a video I had already made since the deadline was 2 days away, but I wanted to do more. I, very stupidly, wanted to do more. So I decided that I would make a brand new video in 2 days. If you're a regular on this channel, or really any animation channel, you know how we take longer to make videos than a farsighted arthritic tortoise filing taxes. But I decided to do it anyway. I wrote the script in art class, drew the storyboards in writing class, which is kind of ironic looking back, got home and recorded, and then started animating. And I didn't stop until the video was done, which was 10 minutes until I had to leave for school. That was a fun sleep-deprived experience. I got home again, exported the video, and very nervously turned it in. A week later, it was time to open the exhibit, which happened very quickly and I was not mentally prepared, but this is fine. We showed up early, I checked on my video, and my sweet child, what did they do to you? I'll tell you what they did. Crushed to a 4:3 aspect ratio, resolution reduced to 480p, and the audio coming out of only one side. Wasn't that awful? Didn't you hate that? So did I. I couldn't fix the resolution, but I did manage to get it displaying correctly. My dad and I rushed to a Best Buy to get an audio adapter, got back 2 minutes before the opening started, and finally I had it fixed. A lot of unnecessary stress right there, but luckily it all worked out. And so, it was finally time to present my work. Hi, my name is Mash. My piece is called Doodle, and it's about how I grew during the program and learned to be myself. I also made this companion video. Ever since I was little, I was always drawn to cartoons. I loved to draw, I loved watching shows, and I loved stories. I still have sketchbooks from when I was in 3rd grade, and stories I wrote from around that time. Needless to say, these stories weren't good, but they were a start. I kept drawing and writing as a hobby for a couple years, until one day, while watching Steven Universe, say what you will about the show, but I love it, man, I really want to make that. I realized that this is what I wanted to do with my life. So I got serious. I moved schools, I started taking art classes, I asked colleges what I needed to learn, and I started making videos. At my new school, there were lots of really good artists, like really good. I mean, I don't need to tell you that. There are artists around you right now and it's amazing. I was excited to be working with these people, but also a little intimidated. I mean, they were making these amazing pieces of art, and I made cartoons. And for a while, I really tried to fit in that fine art box. And it was good to get out of my comfort zone. I learned a lot, but I knew it wasn't me. And trying to emulate all these different styles and techniques, and often in my own eyes failing, well, it took a toll on me. I got a serious case of imposter syndrome. Every day, I felt like I didn't belong here, and that I wasn't good enough, which is super unhealthy. But it wasn't until I sat down with my mom and said all this to her that I realized that. She told me that cartoons are art too, which I really needed to hear. And that's when I settled on this project. And after a lot of hard work, here we are. I learned a lot about making art in this program, but the most important lesson, as cliche as it is, was staying true to myself. So I'm gonna keep telling these stories, and hopefully make something someday that inspires someone too. Yes! Mild applause! Oh, thank goodness. I mean, they clapped for everyone else, but still. And afterward, people told me that they liked it too. That was cool because then I knew that they weren't clapping out of obligation. The showing went well, everyone's pieces were awesome, it was a good time. I'm really happy that I pushed through all the self-doubt, because it was very fun when I wasn't crying internally while accidentally sniffing secondhand paint fumes. I had good times too, like the previously mentioned bonfire circle. Maybe I'll talk about that someday. Regardless, I really did love the program, and it was very beneficial. I'll always look back on it fondly for all the experiences it allowed me to have. And for plugging my channel on a museum wall, be sure to like, comment, subscribe!